This is the set list for BT8 New Awakening in the Digimon TCG. And with the delay of this set finally ending for us North American players and the pre-releases quickly approaching this weekend, I think it's time to talk about the must-have cards from this new booster set. If y'all are excited, be sure to let me know by smashing that like button, subscribing to the channel, and clicking that bell for notifications so you know when my videos go live for you. But with all that being said, let's get started. Alright, so I think this goes without saying, but I believe Starter Deck 9, Ultimate Ancient Dragon, and Starter Deck 10, Parallel World Technician, are must-gets if you're a Digimon player that plans on playing either Mastemon, Armor Rush, or Imperial Dramon. I'll be doing proper product reviews of these decks later on when I get my hands on them, but just know they're pretty good. I recommend you get your hands on some. On to the actual booster set New Awakening. Let's start off as always with the red cards. This set is really cool because it not only introduces the new Armor Purge mechanic, but it truly fleshes out the Jogress or DNA Digivolution, as it's called in English mechanics for the Digimon TCG. Super cool. Cannot wait to start playing with these fancy new mechanics and new decks. Besides the occasional like pick up every single armor card you can because they're all rares except for Magnamon, let's talk about the first actual SR in the set, TrueChampionSteven. Gosh, I hope I'm pronouncing that one right. It is an SR giant bird Digimon for the red color that has the when Digivolving, your opponent chooses one of their Digimon, delete all Digimon other than this Digimon, and your opponent's chosen Digimon. For each Digimon deleted by this effect, gain 1 memory. Your turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, this Digimon gains plus security attack for the turn for each of your opponent's Digimon being deleted. So it's basically a red version of a Zulongmon from blue. You know, you do this mass effect type effect, and you gain memory whenever said effect actually applies, and then you also gain plus security attack whenever that said thing happens. I'm personally a huge fan of the effects that say, like, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, gain some type of stat bonus. I think it's a really nice interaction with removal, and I've always loved being rewarded for doing a thing that's already super good in a game. Whether or not TrueChampionSteven actually becomes like a staple in red decks as just a massive board wipe, or this random thing you can throw in to a deck that happens to have red level 5s, like Black War Greymon, for example, has yet to be seen. I do think it's a powerful effect. I don't think it's a finisher by any means. I just think it's a super nice addition. If boards do get too crazy and do get too wide, it's like, hey, those 10 Digimon are cool. Let's just make it 1. Even though this card is cool, I don't think it facilitates any impressive combos or is needed in any of the winning strategies out of BT8, so it's in no way necessary. Pick it up whenever you feel like it. We'll be talking about some other red cards that come out in this set, but they're not only red cards. So for now, while red is a bit unimpressive, trust me, there is more to come. Let's talk about some of the blue cards. We of course have more VMon support for the Imperial and Armor Purge decks. We of course have even more armors in this set. I'm pretty sure every single color got at least 1 to 2 dual color Digimon, and I think a couple of them have like multiple armors, but I think blue has the most. But first, speaking of blue, we have the first proper blue SR in Imperial Dramon Fighter mode. I know myself and a ton of other long-term Digimon fans have been waiting for this boy to come out, and I think this card truly does him justice. And even though his name is Fighter Mode, his effect on when Digivolve is one of removal, being able to bounce something 10,000 DP or less on your opponent's board, and then when attacking, being able to unsuspend something and then also suspend something else is really cool. I've always loved the synergy of being able to swing at your opponent while resting one of their dudes, and then being able to attack that said dude. So you're doing aggression while you're also doing extra control. Super awesome effect, and I love seeing it on a 2 Digivolution cost with 13,000 DP for no reason. With that said, Fighter Mode is an amazing card that you should totally include in your Imperial Dramon decks. I recommend picking up anywhere from 2 to 3 copies as soon as you can. Also, his alt art is pretty sick. Moving on to the yellow cards, we have 2 big Digimon to talk about. The first one is Magnamon. Right now, Magnamon has a very niche role in that he is the pseudo-boss monster of the Armor Purge VMon deck and doesn't really do much else. In the future, we will get access to Magnamon X Antibody, and he becomes a much more useful piece in that deck and a bit more fleshed out as a Digimon as a whole. But when it comes to pure stats, it's kind of hard to beat Magnamon. He's a level 4 with 7,000 DP, the Armor Purge ability, which if you guys don't know is the new mechanic where basically if this Digimon would be deleted, you may trash the top card of this Digimon's Digivolution cards to prevent that deletion. So think of it kind of like what Machinedramon does, but the opposite. Instead of taking sources away, you just kind of de-digivolve yourself and you avoid being deleted. He also happens to have Blocker and a crazy wind digivolving effect that increases his DP during your opponent's turn for every armor card you have in your trash. I've seen this guy get as big as like 15,000 DP on turn 4, and it's actually unfair. Magnamon strikes me as a card that will be expensive during like the initial like week and a half, depending on how popular the Armor Rush strategy is. So picking him up sooner rather than later might be recommended, but if you want to wait, I do see him going down once the initial hype of, oh my gosh, new mechanic actually does die down. Because while yes, Armor Purge is a new archetype, it has similar flavors to Rookie Rush, and when it comes to aggro archetypes, they can be pretty polarizing in Digimon, where it's popular, but people don't really go out of their way to always have it available if they don't like that style of play. The other card, however, Rapidmon, is probably the only card in this set that I will demand you pick up as soon as possible at the maximum 4 copies, because personally, I love this card. He has Armor Purge, that's cool. He can evolve for 3 on a Terrierbon, that's cool. But his Wind Digivolving effect is literally the most broken thing I've ever read in my life. Wind Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, doesn't matter what kind it is, for each Tamer you have in play. Then, up to 3 of your opponent's suspended Digimon gets minus 5,000 DP for the turn. Now, he's not broken like Shine Greymon, where he can target multiple things at once. He does have to target either 1 thing or 3 things or 2 things, whatever it is. They have to be separate. But being able to tap out potentially your opponent's entire board and swing into anything that's less than 11,000 DP whenever you want to is crazy. And when you combine that with the potential of other DP reduction effects that you have in yellow, it can just get out of control. Rapidmon single-handedly keeps the yellow hybrid archetype not only alive in BT8, but probably dominating, because he himself, as an Armor Purge Digimon, actually counters Armor Purge pretty well. So while yes, Rapidmon may be simple on the surface and he's not overhyped like Imperial or Maste, I do view him as being a super essential piece to any yellow player's toolbox if they want to combat any aggressive metas, which BT8 is looking to be. And if I had to pick between Magnamon and Rapidmon's alternate art, I'm going Rapidmon every single day of the week. Gotta have that close-up of the bunny missile. Moving on, we have what I would call a point of contention for me, which is Shivamon. So overall, I would say Shivamon is a super interesting addition into the green sort of card catalog. Being able to perfectly counter any option card heavy strategy is super appealing. So definitely get your hands on some Shivamon whenever possible. Because you never know 8 sets down the line in the future when some broken option card combination is going to come out, and having an instant stop to it in Shivamon just seems too appealing to not have in your collection. That being said, for the BT8 format specifically, I have been unimpressed by the sort of role that Shivamon plays in the meta. Basically, to me, Shivamon and his ability to stop your opponent from using option cards and his ability to always trash security when he gets to untap is only good against the security control decks of the format, which there will be. That will be a thing, and so having a good answer to that is nice. But to say that that's enough to warrant him being something you have to own, I just don't think that's true. So if you don't feel like playing green in BT8, by all means, do not pick this card up. But if you do feel like being prepared for the future of Digimon, I recommend picking up the Shivamon core. It'll probably be super cheap and just worth it for you in the long run. And the alternate art of Shivamon, I gotta say, is pretty dope. Moving on to what I think is the actual talk of the town, the #1 best supported color in BT8, we have the black cards of New Awakening. The main archetype being supported is X Antibody, similar to what we saw in Set 7 and similar to what we are going to see in Set 9. The big sort of Digivolution line is the Ryuda, Ginryu, Hisaryu, and Oryumon line that supports the greater Alphamon-focused X X antibody deck, and not so much the generic X antibody deck, but they all happen to give effects to X antibodies anyway, so they are kind of both generic support, but also super specific support, like Oriyumon here. And Oriyumon actually facilitates a super awesome combo with the BT6 Secret Rare Alphamon, where you can restand him, gain a bunch of memory, and then just do a bunch of crazy stuff afterwards, which is super cool and looking to be one of the most powerful decks in the BT8 meta. I am very excited. Oriyumon himself, though, is kind of unimpressive and doesn't really do much besides have super specific forms of removal against your opponent, which, while yes, is nice, isn't the real purpose of this card. I will say, however, that if you plan on playing X Antibody, picking up at least 3 copies of this card is pretty necessary, but I don't think it'll break your bank. I very much doubt this card will be higher than $5, but if you want to be fancy schmancy, definitely pick up the alternate art, because this is kind of terrifying, but like in a super impressive way. All right, I've gushed about what everyone else is excited about when it comes to BT8. Let's talk about what I'm so excited about. Black War Greymon, the dual color red and black Digimon. So, while yes, this is Black War Greymon, he is a black Digimon, I think the actual purpose of this card is to be the main red support in the set, because the red base version of Black War Greymon that you can build after Set 8 comes out is really scary and super strong as sort of the king of mid-range, and his effects say it all. When Digivolving, if this Digimon has a red Digivolution card, choose any number of your opponent's Digimon. If this Digimon has a black Digivolution card, choose any number of your opponent's Tamers. The chosen cards' play cost must add up to 6 or less. Delete the chosen cards. He also has an effect that says whenever one of your opponent's Digimon is deleted during either player's turn, unsuspend this Digimon. You know how earlier I said I love these types of effects? I love them even more when they're on my favorite Digimon. So while yes, I may be a diehard for Black War Greymon, I'm going to play it no matter how good it is, you might not feel the same way. If you are a fan of Black and you're only able to build one deck, I will recommend first that you get the X Antibody support squared out before you venture off into other archetypes, because that one does look to be the most solid, but I'm a sucker for Black War Greymon. I have a super fun list that I love playing, and I cannot wait to play it in actual tournaments. And you know, this alternate art is actually jaw-droppingly gorgeous. Moving on to purple, I want to point out, I didn't point this out earlier, but we have some new floodgates in BT8, which I think are commons that we should definitely look at. The biggest one, though, is Psychomon being able to stop your opponent from reducing play costs. This card will come up a lot more once we actually get to EXO2 format and the D-Reaper decks start running amok. So definitely keep an eye on this card and pick up your 4 copies whenever you can. Up next, we have the purple Digimon, and besides being some extra support for random green decks or random purple-yellow decks, and, you know, facilitating the Malamyotismon shenanigans, the real star of the show is Ophanimon Fall Down Mode. This card not only brought back security control from the, you know, black hole that was hybrid meta, but it made it even better. Anytime you see on Digivolve Recover 1, all those yellow security control players just stare at it and go, how can we use this in our deck? And when it happens to also be on a Digimon that lets you recycle level 4s, so that way you can counter other people's removal, it's just gravy. I do think that if you plan on playing security control, you have to get like 4 copies of this card, because it is just the best Digimon to build around for that archetype. But if you don't plan on doing that, and you do plan on playing Mastemon, picking up 1 or 2 is probably all you're going to need. While yes, it is a waifu tax will be a thing, I don't see this card being too expensive, and I do actually see it dying down as the set actually gets going. So if you're in no rush to play like non-pure Mastemon, don't feel like you have to get this card on day 1, definitely take your time with it. And then, if you want to play Malamyotismon, pick up Malamyotismon. I don't technically believe in this deck, but I have seen some pretty cool lists, and I do think it can do some cool things. So if you like those things that it does, pick up your 4 copies. They should be like 10 cents. So have fun. And I think the last SR Digimon we have to talk about is probably the, you know, like generically strongest card in the set, like period. We have Chimeramon, which is the ultimate Jogress Digimon, and the reason that cards like Eismon and Savior Huckmon got limited for this format. Being able to Jogress and gain a potential Rush Digimon level 5 in any color of any deck is pretty crazy. On top of that, having the ability to not only fix any evolution sources or inheritable effects you might want to have, but also have DP reduction on its face seems pretty broken to me. I would say the best decks that utilize Chimeramon are, of course, Imperial, are, of course, Armor Purge, are, of course, Black War Greymon. Basically, any decks that require specific sources, specific colors, or can keep level 4 Digimon on the board for a long amount of time. I do think that because Jessamon and sort of purple, Rush / Eismon Rush decks are no longer going to exist, that Chimeramon does lose a lot of his main competitive usefulness. He does have a lot of really cool ways to interact with certain deck builds to help keep things more consistent and add to aggression if you need a little bit more in your archetype. That being said, I do not think he's a 4 of. I think he's actually a 2 of card at most in strategies. But if you are something like Imperial, which can just puke out level 4s, having 3 to 4 might be good for you in case you do want to maximize your potential aggression in your Imperial deck. So yeah, I love Chimeramon. This card's crazy. Definitely pick up some as soon as you can. And his alternate art kind of gives me nightmares, but again, in like a this is shockingly accurate and impressive kind of way. Of all the Tamers that are coming out, I would say Davis and Ken are the most powerful, but ones that I'm excited to actually test with are Hero and Cody, because I think the interactions these cards have with like Yellow Hybrid, Red Hybrid, or certain other Tamer-based decks is really cool. I would say Kari Kamiya is a nice inclusion for anyone who is starting the game and doesn't want to go back in time and get TKs from set 1, and of course, Yuji is a crazy card for X Antibody. It is the facilitator of like the main, Hisaryumon, Alphamon, or Umon combo, which is just crazy. It is literally Matashita and Tai Kamiya from set 6 for X Antibody decks. Just so strong. And in terms of option cards, my personal favorite option card has to be a tie between Crimson Blaze and I think it's called Flame Hellscythe or something. Yeah, Flame Hellscythe. Both of these cards are 6 cost, but their effects are actually crazy. Crimson Blaze can like wipe out an entire board and gain memory, and Hellscythe is not only a super good answer to Armor Purge decks, but it also lets you play purple or yellow Digimon from your trash without paying their costs. This actually lets you recycle Magna Angemon from the original set 1, so it's basically Holy Wave that also kills something, which is crazy. And I may as well point out Dark Gaia Force because it has my beautiful boy's face on it, so why wouldn't I point it out to you at home? And finally, closing out Set 8 New Awakening proper, we have the secret rares. I'm gonna level with y'all. In terms of competitive viability, these are some of the most unimpressive secret rares we've had in a long time. That being said, I do love these cards. We have Creepymon, who is probably the quintessential purple Digimon. You have a trash effect on Digivolve. You have an effect that activates when you have certain amounts of cards in your trash, and you have the ability to recycle level 5 or lower Digimon. That's just all awesome. I mean, you could on Digivolve recycle Cerberusmon Werewolf mode and like gain memory using this card, which is so cool. But other than being like a dead or alive on legs, I don't really see Creepymon doing much else in the format. He by himself cannot win you a game. You have to have like a whole deck built around him. He's not like Imperial. He's not like Maste, where after he comes into play, he does something truly crazy. So while Creepymon is a cool card and one you might want to pick up, I don't see him being immediately useful, so there's really no need to get it if you don't just like this card. And then Imperial Dramon Paladin mode, super awesome card, literally power creeps Omnimon with 16,000 DP. I believe that is the highest, printed DP value as of right now in Digimon, which is just a cool fact. But besides that, I don't really think he does anything too crazy. He's kind of like a pseudo board wipe for like blue hybrid type decks that like get rid of all your opponent's sources. But in the actual Imperial Dramon deck, I don't really see him serving a role besides like when you're done with your fighter mode, like turning him into this. But if I'm honest with you, I'd rather just keep fighter mode because he can constantly attack, restand, suspend things, and then just keep doing that. So that feels better to me, like over a series of turns versus just like one giant board wipe, which is kind of what Imperial Dramon does. I do think that if you're really worried about like X antibody type decks that have just like a million sources, being able to have this card and just saying, hey, all those sources, bye, they're gone, and like getting rid of all your opponent's really cool effects on the Digimon is really nice. So if you want to play him as like a tech piece to beat X antibody or just source focused decks, by all means go ahead and do so. But in terms of being like a solo by himself super impressive card that you have to get, Not really. He's not really that crazy. He's just neat and definitely worth picking up if you like what his effect actually does. Let's see who wins in the game of alternate arts here. You know what? I'm going to give it to Creepymon because I feel like the inclusion of Ulforce really tells a good story in this artwork. Let me know down below in the comments what your favorite alternate art is from set 8. I always love seeing what y'all have to say about that because the artwork in Digimon is super impressive. And boom, there you guys go. That does it for the must-have cards in the 8th set of the Digimon TCG New Awakening. I think the quality of cards in this set is truly one of the best, but there are cards that you kind of have to get immediately, and there are cards that you probably should get eventually. Hopefully in this video I was able to point out which ones are which and give you an easier way to sort of make decisions for yourself in your own TCG experience. If y'all enjoyed this video and got any value out of it, be sure to let me know by smashing that like button, subscribing to the channel, and clicking that bell for notifications so you know when my videos go live for you. And with all that being said, I've been your true champion, Steven. Please be sure to work hard, rest easy, and live well. And I will see you all next time. Peace.